What should have been good news to the country that is weighed down by the global coronavirus pandemic turned into calls for the International Monetary Fund to recall the loan. The IMF approved a $255 billion loan that was set to go into helping Kenya shore up its economy that has been ravaged by the coronavirus pandemic, whose end doesn't seem to be anywhere in sight. But Kenyans, in their usual activist nature, took to the social media under the trending hashtag, such as hashtag IMF Stop Loaning Kenya, to express their dissatisfaction with the loan. For 3 days, Kenyans have raided IMF social media pages, even signing a petition which by the time of the going to the press had been signed by 180,000 people. Kenyans complained that they were choking under the burden of heavy taxation, rising cost of basic commodities, and an uncertain future. However, Kenya's former finance minister and ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi blames lack of citizen information about government loans for the fiasco.
And so it is important that the government prepares the Kenyan people early by telling them what were the underlying issues. You know, because maybe inside there they have signed off that they will do certain things. They might even have signed off that they will reintroduce cost sharing, or they'll reintroduce school fees in certain areas. It's very possible. Or they will cut out higher university loans to a certain extent. So these are the issues that I'm saying that they need to come out so that people prepare early. Don't ambush them.
Mudavadi says petitioning the IMF is not a new thing though.
It's their right to raise issues, and our constitution provides a lot of opportunity for people to raise concerns. And by the way, this is not the first time. I remember even in the 90s, Kenyans used to write to the World Bank and to the IMF to tell them not to support the Kenya government.
However, he warns that Kenya needs the IMF more if it has to get its economy from the doldrums.
I would not support a situation where the IMF walks out on Kenya. It will be very painful, it will be difficult. So they may be expressing their displeasure and anger on the growing public debt, mismanagement, corruption, and so forth. That is valid for them to raise such petitions. But at the end of it all, bearing in mind that I have said we are suffering from the ravages of COVID, and our earnings as a country have shrunk, it would be very dangerous not to have an IMF program.
An IMF engagement is also an important indicator of how the country is likely to deal with other international financiers.
It's also important to remember that when you have an IMF engagement, it's like a rating bureau. And it will enable the Kenya government to renegotiate and reschedule some of its expensive debt.
In regards to the extending debt ceiling, Mudavadi wants Parliament to support a motion by Nambale MP Sakwa Bunyasi that seeks to form a national debt management authority to monitor the use of public funds.
And that is why we say that Parliament should be more thorough when it comes to this undertaking. And it's on this basis that I actually urge Kenyans to lend support to Honorable Sakwa Bunyasi's bill.
Mudavadi also says the government options are limited as it is faced by an unperforming economy.
The government can explore other options, but they're very limited. Let me put it that way. At this point in time, government's options are very limited because you have to stabilize first before you can really look at other options. And that is why I keep on coming to this thing, rescheduling, restructuring, some areas renegotiating, having some of these payments maybe be suspended
He, however, agrees that once the loans have been taken, they are a burden on Kenyans' shoulders as they are now sovereign debts.
At the end of the day, once you have executed these agreements, it becomes a sovereign debt. And the sovereign debt translates into higher taxation.
Busara Naman for Ebru TV.